let me ask you now questions with regards to your chairmanship in the Foreign Relations Committee. Pakistan has had a long up and down relations with India, your neighbor. I read a recent article quoting you as saying that relations are improving. Do you believe that? And what of Kashmir?
The relations are improving. The Kashmir situation we are trying to tackle through negotiations. The possibility of war is no longer there because both countries are nuclear armed. So overall the environment in the region has become more conducive to launching the peace process and the process of rapprochement between Pakistan and India. And this is now in the areas of cricket, commerce, culture, Kashmir, other issues. And there's tourism now also between the two countries. There's increased travel and trade also. Kashmir is of course the focal point. And you can't stage Hamlet without the Prince of Denmark, as it were. So Kashmir will have to be resolved. The ball is in the court of the Indians, and we hope the Indians will respond to the initiatives of President Musharraf.
Will we ever see a day when Kashmir is peaceful and respected by both India and Pakistan? For instance, do you see it as a semi-autonomous region to placate both sides?
I think we'll certainly see a day when there will be peace in the region and security and stability in Kashmir. I don't want to be too specific on what sort of settlement will eventually emerge, because there are ideas from the Indian side, from the Pakistani side, from the Kashmiri side, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, as it were. So let the process be there. It's not an event, it's not one-off. It's a process which is at times tedious, it can be a rough ride, but as long as we move along on the destination of peace, I think we are on the right track.
And has regional organizations like SAARC, have they been effective in reducing tensions between fighting countries like India and Pakistan?
Organizations like SAARC are useful mechanisms for bringing countries together on one platform. They are not necessarily instruments for peace or promoting the peace process, but at least they are an event which is held every year. This time in April, you'll have the SAARC summit in India, where our leadership will be there, the Indian leadership will be there. So at least we are talking to each other rather than talking at each other. That is a step forward. And I think SAARC does play a role, but it cannot be an instrument to resolve disputes.
See, well, as the situation becomes more serious in Afghanistan, another neighbor of yours, Pakistan seems to be put in a difficult position. Are there military leaders who feel that the Taliban should be helped in the interest of Pakistan's security?
No, that is no longer the case. That is history. Yes, we helped the Taliban once upon a time, before 9/11. That policy was there, but we were not the only ones. At one point in time, even the US was soft on the Taliban. So that is now part of history. The vision of Taliban is not the vision of Pakistan for the future. What they stand for is contrary to the values of Islam and contrary to the values of an enlightened, progressive, democratic, moderate Muslim Pakistan. And so that vision is not that we share, and we reject that.
But there are elements in Afghanistan which are radical, extreme Muslims, and they tend to influence because they cross over the borders. How does Pakistan deal with that? I mean, you've been criticized as not doing enough to contain the terrorism that is stemming from from Afghanistan.
If the United States, with all its monumental resources and military might, cannot stop 12 million Mexicans from crossing the Rio Grande River, and they are illegal aliens in America, and if Malaysia cannot stop Indonesians from crossing the border to work illegally or legally or otherwise in Malaysia, no country can do that. We are trying our best. It's a porous border. 1,560 miles, Pakistan-Afghanistan boundary. We have 80,000 troops. We have 939 posts on this border. But there are tribes which straddle the divide, which are across each other's borders. They cross freely. So it's not easy for us to do that. And we are working hard on that. We have lost 750 soldiers and officers through our forces, 80,000 troops in the Afghan border, which is more than what NATO, the Americans, the British have done. So we have made the contribution, but it's a collective responsibility. Can the Americans stop infiltration from the border, from across the border into Iraq? No, they can't. It's an uphill task. So let's do it together rather than blaming any other country.
And there's the humanitarian factor. You still have people coming out of Afghanistan. How much of a burden is that for Pakistan?
We have 2.5 million Afghan refugees whom we are caring ourselves. At the peak, we had 3.5 million Afghan refugees. And this is the biggest refugee population in the history of the world. We are doing it on our own. Nobody's helping us.
And they're permanent refugees sometimes. They don't go
back.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. But it is a unique relationship. I think the credit goes to Pakistan and its government and its people that we have hosted such a large number of people in a friction-free relationship.
We come